Boom, baby, we are live. Welcome to Rule Zero. We are talking today about toxic red pill ideas and toxic red pill thinking, because I think that this corner of the internet kind of thrives on just like nonstop bad news. Like it's all gonna, no matter what, she's gonna cheat, she's gonna leave you. The moment you guys break up or have a fight, she's gonna be on a new dick the next morning. And like, I just think that we kind of need to bring it in a little bit and give guys a little bit more of a sober, real life look at the world. Because I mean, are there girls out there that will do that kind of stuff? Yeah, but I truly believe those kind of girls are in the minority. They're not the majority of women out there, and the majority of guys on this panel do have some sort of stable woman and man, in the case of Cappies, in their life. And no, I'm just joking, Cappy.
It's already starting.
No, let's just get it out early.
Yeah. We'll send TJ link. But I think that we just need to. I think because when I took 2 months off from YouTube and basically all of this little corner of the internet, looking from the outside in, I was like, God, like it's like a bunch of baboons throwing shit at each other in there. And like
guilty as charged.
Yeah, and
can you tell that from the inside?
No, you can't, because you're dodging shit, you're getting hit by shit, you're throwing shit, you're a baboon yourself. But taking the time off and kind of recalibrating, coming back, I just kind of think I wanted to give more, and this is, times are changing when I'm saying this, but I want to give more of a balanced message. And, I think we just wanted to talk about that today, and I had some kind of ideas. So I'm joined today by everybody on the show. What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's up?
So real quick, before we get going, we are having my meetup, and so it's happening this upcoming December here. So we have Hot Dude Contour. So San Diego is December 18th. I will be there. John Fitch will be there. Dollar Cost Crypto from the Cultivate Crypto Mindset course will be there. Paul from Apex Mindset will be at San Diego. Red Pill Thor will be there. It's going to be a great event. Dallas is going to be the Inner Game Summit. That's December 21st. So come on down to Dallas. And then Miami, December 23rd, we'll have guys from Fresh and Fit. Troy Francis was supposed to be there. Is everything still on track for you to be there, Troy?
It's on at the moment, man. 100%.
Yep. So I will be there. Troy will be there. Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit will be there in Miami. And then Donovan Sharp is pending as well. So if you want to get your ticket to this event, all you need to do is go to this website right here, hotdudecon.com. There are only 15 tickets left for the San Diego event. Go to hotdudecon.com and just choose your ticket here. San Diego, $100. Dallas, $100. Miami. Dallas has about 12 spots left, and then Miami has a lot of spots. There's like 20 or so left. So, but these tickets will be stopped. Will stop being sold soon, and then I'm very sure that San Diego and Dallas are going to sell out probably by Monday. So secure your spot today. Go to hotdudecon.com. Come meet me. Come meet the crew. Start off the new year right. It's going to be really, really good. And yeah, I'll put the link in the chat. So why don't we just start this off with just like an open panel discussion? Like, what do you guys think that is overly stated in the red pill, in the manosphere, that you guys just know it's not true, and then like it's kind of can become toxic and kind of just too much,
I think like infidelity, the assumption that every girl is just on the next dick as soon as you leave the house, she's banging someone else, immediately under all circumstances. I don't think that's true. I think that all women have the propensity to cheat, of course. We're all human, right? They all naturally look for the best option they can get in the dating marketplace. They'll all be sort of looking around and scanning. That kind of just happens naturally. Are they all acting on it at all times in all circumstances? No, I don't believe that they are. I don't think that's a sort of Pollyanna-ish view of women. I don't think that's a simpy view of women. I just don't think that, I've certainly dated women and I don't believe that they were doing that. I could be hopelessly naive. Maybe they were cheating every time I went out of the house, but I really don't think that they were. And I don't think in most cases, unless your dating pool is solely composed of girls on Fresh and Fit, that is necessarily going to be a problem, even in a big city like London or New York or wherever.
Yeah.
Do you guys,
John?
100%. I agree with that.
Ryan.
Especially when, you have good girls. You've dated a lot of girls or a lot of women, and you have the ones that are really into you. Like that they're not entertaining, conversations with other guys. That they're not, just because of the amount of attention they do give you, the amount of time and effort they give you, the stuff they'll do for you. They're not out there looking at every guy who says hello. There are girls out there who just, it's the idea of that hypergamy. They have that one male that they want, and they've given all their attention to that guy. They do exist. Those girls are out there. And I think that's one of the reasons why we tell you to date a lot of people, is because you need to be able to understand which ones are like that for you and which ones aren't. Because there's plenty of girls that are hot. They give attention, but I know they're not 100% in there. They've got other shit going on, and you just have to let them, be what they are. And try to focus your attention on the ones who really do have their eyes on you.
I've done my damnedest to explain hypergamy is not a straitjacket to so many people at this stage right now. I think it's still, I still have to do it because these guys.
But it's not a straitjacket, because that might be confusing for some people.
Well, here's the thing is that I have done explanations on what hypergamy is, because I think a lot of guys are either too happy about it or they're too raging pissed off, sad about it. And so therefore I think a lot of guys, particularly in black pill, MGTOW, the extreme end of MGTOW, end up seeing hypergamy as this unavoidable a doom sentence for themselves, and they think why I think this is me spitballing here, okay, but I think half the reason why guys say the juice isn't worth the squeeze is because even if they got the squeeze, they don't get it forever, right? It's it's just your turn kind of thing. They'll take that to the nth degree. It will be the most binary extreme response that they possibly can. So why even bother with it? Because even if I got into my ideal relationship, there's always a better guy than me. I can't even get a girl, much less even if I could, then she wouldn't be my girl, right? And so what happens is that it sort of colors their entire overview, I guess, of the sexual marketplace and their chances to get with a girl or to actually find some sort of contentment, or I don't know, solve their reproductive problem, right? And the problem that happens is they have these really they think that they have these or should have these really super high standards for women, like they want this virgin bride or something like that. But even if they got the virgin bride, she's still looking for a bigger, better deal. Yeah. And I told him this. I say, you know what? The main reason why I say hypergamy is not a straitjacket is because a woman's capacity to actually get a guy fluctuates with how old is she? What are her personal conditions? Is she fat? Is she thin? What is her sort of mental state? There's so many variables that influence a woman's ability to affect hypergamy in that sense. So if a woman is say she's in the epiphany phase, 29 to 31 years old, that's she's at a different phase where she can actually command the attention and the arousal state or whatever of guys to a lesser degree than she could when she was say 23 years old. And then if she gets older than that, then women's conditions change. And what happens is guys think that it's just this be all end all. It's like I said, it's a straitjacket and you can't get out of it. Well, there's a lot that goes along with that. So they don't take into account the variables, whether it's age or it's socioeconomic status, or is she hot? Is she not? What is she? Is she a 6? Is she a 10? that is going to affect like her ability to be, to affect that hypergamy. And so what they do is they think that all women are all tens, and they all expect like, 6 foot tall Giga Chad. And so they take it, like I said, to the nth degree because it fits in with that idea that they're never going to be able to succeed.
Ryan, go ahead, buddy.
All right. So you asked the question, what's the most toxic thing you heard here? And that's like asking who's the most autistic kid at the Spectrum School.
Who gets to lick the windows the most?
Yeah. You guys remember when I told you, like, I'm tired of having a conversation about fucking with guys who don't fuck? This is what happens. Yeah. This is where you get guys who, instead of coming up with theories based on experience, they start trying to impress other guys by going up and above and beyond. Women are the most responsible teenagers in the room was one concept, turned into women or children, turned into women or mental midgets. And that's because nobody's actually touching grass. And that's why, John, you like got disinterested in this space once you went and touched grass for a bit. Because it's easy to get sucked into it. I get it. It's entertaining. Hearing a guy yell about some TikToker, it's entertaining. My video views show you that. Here's the thing. Hypergamy. Hypergamy is not a straitjacket. You guys asked what it meant. Rollo gave you an awesome, 100% accurate view of it. But I'm not as smart as Rollo. You guys probably aren't as smart as Rollo. I'll put it on like the grade 8 version.
I'll make you smart. Women
can be fiercely loyal to one thing at a time. And if it's not you, it's somebody else. Hypergamy is not a straitjacket. Monogamy doesn't exist without hypergamy. If she doesn't think you're her best option, and it's not objectively best option on paper because girls are run by feelings. That's why the drug dealer boyfriend she'll make all kind of excuses for. She thinks you're her best option. She has certain like biological things that affect that. Other men start looking less attractive. Guys hitting on her, it kind of creeps her out in a way that they wouldn't if she was single. So that's great. If you're the top guy in her life, she thinks you're the greatest guy ever. Rollo's wife still stares at him like he's the greatest thing since Pantera, which I think is true. You're like, yeah, definitely Pantera. Not Twisted Sister, but Pantera. Mm-hmm. She's not thinking, oh, this guy's got a slightly longer hair than him, or slightly bigger wallet. I'm out of here. It's not how she thinks. Girls have as big as ego as the guys do. Once they make a decision that this is my man, you can't tell them any different. And that's great. That means you are in there, and all you have to do is not fuck it up. And this is why the guys who don't talk to girls, but they think about them from what they read in a book, screw this up. Because I've watched it. It's that 1,000 concessions. And this is where hypergamy ends up doing guys wrong. A guy will be unattractive. He'll slip. He'll slide. He'll treat a woman like it's like an interchangeable with a man. Just put a man with tits and treat her the same way. It's like, no. Treat her like a girl. You act in that high value way. It's like a reassurance that she's made the right choice. I mean, who doesn't want to be a better guy? And having a girl there as a feedback mechanism is great. You can make that last a year, a lifetime, whatever. But that's the whole point with hypergamy. Yeah, sometimes you do something, she falls out of love. Like Rollo said, her life experiences change. The hot dude at the foam party, all of a sudden she wants to have a baby. That guy's not attractive anymore. Stable Billy's attractive. Then she's had the kid, goes to kindergarten, and she's like, oh, I'm feeling like I want the foam party guy back. Yeah, they change. And you change. You just have to be, and that's the whole point of this. You're aware. These are the things that generally happen over a person's life. These are the reasons why they happen. This is the kind of thing she's attracted to, the things she's not. And as a guy, you just either... If you're getting enough value from a girl, you meet those challenges by doing what you need to do. You're the hot Cancun foam party guy when she's 20. When she's 28, you're the guy with the stable job wearing the nice Versace clothes that she can settle down with and have a family and a nice little white dog. But then the kid's 5, you're 35. Now you're like, hey, let's go have fun and party again because, I don't need to be the beta Billy all the time. You're adapting the situation. And if she decides to act like a cunt, you're like, well, I'll just replace you with a 20-year younger version. And that's great. Life is perfect. It's there for the taking. You guys just have it. John, Aaron, fucking Troy, Rollo, everybody are telling you a little piece of the puzzle. Here's how you maximize this. Here's how you can do great on this. Here's how you do great on this. And all you guys got to do is put it together, have an internal set of values to know what you want, and that's it. Life's your oyster. John made $2 million. That was his focus. Other John shows you how to beat some ass and have a lot of fun doing it, being a great dad, smoking weed, having fun, dating chicks. Rollo's showing you business side, get in touch again with your habits when you were a kid. Clary's showing you how to go off a grid. Whichever one you want, just take it. The example's there. And this is why I hate red-pilled content creators, because they spend so much time inside of their own heads thinking up the stupidest scenario that gets the most engagement that they forget to do some shit and tell you how it went for them and what worked for me. And I'll end it here. The only advice that you're ever going to get that's red pilled is here's what I did and here's how it went. Period.
You make a really good point, Ryan, in regard to the online discourse, which I think the problem with is that, and somebody made this point on Twitter the other day. It might have been Rob from, Rob from who works with Jack Napier.
RobSays.net.
Yeah, it may have been him, but somebody made the point anyway on Twitter that a lot of Manosphere tweets read as though the person who wrote the tweet has never actually touched a real life woman before. And I think that is at the heart of a lot of this, because a lot of this discourse that we're seeing where people are saying, oh, of course, all women are like this. They all do that. They all do this. These comments are made by people that don't actually have real life experience. They're just parroting things that they've heard secondhand from the rational male or whatever. And then like Chinese whispers, second hand, third hand, fourth hand, and they become kind of memes and people are parroting this material. But there isn't any reference to, if I actually shut the laptop, step out of the basement and go and actually integrate with people in real life, what actually happens. And there is a gap between the stuff that gets talked about online and what it's like when you actually go and interact with real life women.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of people. I'm with Ryan 1,000%. I fucking hate red pill content creators because they're clickbaity. You know what I mean? Like they're just a few degrees away from the black pill. The black, some of these extreme
confused. That's why they get confused.
Some of these extreme red pill creators are just slightly more optimistic than the black pill guys, and like tell you like you can get out of the you can get out of it. You can get out of this hole you're in. You can raise your SMV, but she's still going to cheat on you if you make one mistake, out the door, and she's fine. Because a lot of guys in this space think that guys that are good with women are abundant, and guys that get it are abundant, and it's painfully obvious. It's the completely other side. And another thing is this too. I think in this corner, I think in the red pill space, the manosphere in general, I think the guys with low self-esteem outnumber the guys with high health-esteem, to the extent that we call the guy with the high self-esteem a natural. Like, oh, he's a natural. Basically, his parents didn't fuck him up.
It is a natural.
Yeah, his parents didn't fuck him up. And so the thing is, I've learned this from my personal experience, and I'll tell you this. Until I started doing some like heavy inner game and inner work, despite me fucking a lot of girls and having a lot of money, I still felt like there was a lingering self-esteem issue inside of me. So I could get the girls on the front end, but on the tail end, I would sabotage it due to my own fucking lack of healthy beliefs about myself, like having a healthy outlook on myself. So I had the money, I had the brand name shit, I had all that stuff, getting all the girls, still do. But down the road, you can't keep them, because no matter what you get validationally from these chicks, you still feel like a pussy inside. You still like feel like you're not good enough, you're not man enough on the inside. And I think that happens with a lot of guys here, is like they'll get the money, they'll get the girls, they'll learn some fucking game, they'll get some sex going on, but then at the end of the day, their own inner game is so fucked up that they sabotage the relationship, and it becomes a pattern, and it becomes like a toxic, self-fulfilling pattern that I see these guys get trapped in. Does that make sense to anybody else, or do I sound like a lunatic?
Yeah, no, you see it almost as a phenomenon, and Rollo wrote a piece, I think, about, or maybe tangentially touched on this, but a lot of this becomes people's new religion. Because they have nothing else in life. And so you could see a lot of that where instead of like you come up with a new concept or a new observation or anything like that, instead of like, oh, that's very practical and here's how I see that happening empirically in the real world, it's more like, wow, new material, like, oh yeah, like give me that, man, give me that hit. It's like, so yeah, that is definitely, you could see it where they've lost the forest from the trees, where it's like, you're no longer using this for practical application. This has now become your life, as opposed to a tool for your life.
A dogma, like almost like a religious.
Thank you. You have a very good vocabulary.
Yes, thank you so much.
100% agree. I will also say this, is that I have been trying to call this out for a very long time. I did actually in religion as well. I mentioned I believe it was a chapter I was actually called The Rise of the Hustle Economy. And that's really what we're in right now. And I think that's the frustration that a lot of us, because pretty much everybody here has been into at least a red pill slash manosphere space for a long time right now. I've been doing this coming up on 20 years. And I've been right. So like when people go, who the hell does this guy think he is? I think I'm Rollo Tomasi. I think I've written 4 books. I think my receipts pretty much speak for themselves. Thank you very much. But and I don't say that as a flex. I say that as, well, maybe a little bit, but I don't say that as a flex because I think that it sort of illustrates what's going on right now, because red pill content, quote unquote, is the new hotness right now. And to the point where, and I'm guilty of this as well, is like the only way to get noticed, the only way to like develop a channel, to develop a persona, is to engage in sort of red meat, right? I mean, you've got to you got to be sensational on some level, even if it's just like, a hot thumbnail, which I tend to be pretty good at, or you can tweak your title, or you're timely. I was just on Elijah Schaefer's show, You Are Here. And the second show I did, I was on there with this Jewish feminist lesbian, Ariella Gross.
Sounds like a bag of fun, man. That just sounds real. Oh boy.
It's funny is I went in there and I recognized her and I'm like, where have I seen this chick before? And then I realized it was on Tim Pool. And so I was there, and she was actually really, we had actually a pretty good debate, overall, but we're just about to go live. It's like 10 minutes before we're about to I can see the counter going down, and Brandon, the producer, comes in. He goes, the Jussie Smollett verdict just came down, and so it switched gears like
Who cares?
Who cares? Everyone on fucking YouTube cares. That's why. So they changed the title, changed the thumbnail like on a fucking dime, man. And I mean, okay, I realize that that's what you have to do, but that's what you have to do. If you want to get more engagement, if you want to get more impressions, you want to get more click-through rate, you want to get more eyes on the screen, that's just what you have to do. Now, did we just talk about that the whole show? Absolutely not. We talked about it maybe for the first 10 minutes, and that was it. And that's all you had to really do to get that engagement. But that's what I'm talking about, is that you have to be like, you have to be very agile. You have to, like, I jumped all over the Will Smith thing. I jumped all over the Tommy Lahren thing. And those I think that's a little bit more relating than like some gay black dude pretending to get beat up by white people. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I'm giving you an example.
I get what you're, well, yeah, that's the thing. Broad audiences, not everybody knows your shit. They know Jesse because he's been on the news everywhere. They don't care. They just
how do I turn Jussie Smollett into a red pill, topic? I can't. I'm just, that's out of my wheelhouse. But that's what you have to do to get eyes on the screen.
Probably raised by a single mom.
And we're getting to the point right now. I think what
maybe blame feminism.
Yeah, I know. Watch me turn this around. But I think that we're getting to the point right now where we're manufacturing our own salaciousness, our own sensationalism, especially in red pill content, like breads and circuses, right? I mean, when the whole thing with Fresh and Fit and Aubin Preach came down in August, I was right there. I told the guys, I texted them that night because I happened to be in Miami. I said, let's go get these guys. Let's go nip this in the bud. And they just kind of blew me off, and they're just going, they're out partying, doing their, I just laugh at those guys. They weren't taking it seriously. I'm like, all right, man. And of course it blew up. And now this other thing with Fresh and Miranda, and now whatever their copyright thing that they're doing right now.
They're doing gun safety classes on their podcast.
I'm not saying that, that what they're doing isn't working. It certainly is, but but here's the thing is other creators pick up on that and they start doing it themselves.
Yeah, it's monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah,
I want to go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so we're at this point right now, I think, where, as I've said before, it's red meat, content, And like I have a marketing background as it is, but it's like the sizzle and steak concept. It's like you can't just have sizzle; you got to have steak with the sizzle. But people come for the sizzle, so that's why I'm always trying to make something a little bit more, I guess, nutritious. Let's just say I just did a show on a pre-record show by I guess I was doing a breakdown of Stardust, and he was talking about how the red pill is poisoning the minds of young men right now.
I don't think it is. I think
I don't think it is either.
No, and I think it's inevitable. Like I read a quote by Buddha the other day, and it said 3 things eventually come out: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And like you can't they can't censor fast enough. And America is just like, you guys don't know what it's like because you guys live in America. But when I go back to America, I'm like, this place is a fucking zoo. Like in Japan, people have like
math. Jelly's Chanellis, I think your math is a little bit off.
I was going to address this.
And I know John has 2, so there's 3 right there.
Yeah. So Telly Chanellis with your $1.79 fake British money. Thank you. Six men.
How dare you,
dude? People asking about your kids. That's the fast, quick way to an ass whooping. I'm just saying.
Speaking of fake currency,
yes.
no. What he's implying is that unless you're reproducing, you're not like worth listening to.
Bruce used to say that. I remember that conversation.
Yeah,
it's jerking off having sex unless it's for procreation.
Let me read the super chat. JC93 Canadian, more fake money, $6.99 super chat. Thoughts of getting the V word? Is it inevitable for everyone in Canada? Don't be a pussy. Just like it. Just
we're
don't
almost
be a
done
pussy.
with this. I think
that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say anything else. Be a man.
It's a choice you got to make for yourself.
It's getting too ridiculous.
Your body, your choice.
I've now have an official minimum $100 consultation fee if you ask me whether or not you should get poked. So sick. I'm in this situation. My life in your hands. Yeah, that's $100 minimum. And I think I'm honestly just going to flip a coin from here on out. Like, oh yeah, totally. Oh no, don't.
You should do a crystal ball on the camera, and
to make it really official, I'll flip a shilling just to make Troy happy.
I want to say also this. So I've noticed this, right? So obviously, if you follow me on Instagram, Modern Life Dating, that's my meme account, and I always track the back end data on the memes, and I just post stuff that I think is funny, but the stuff that is a little bit more critical and I don't want to say hateful, but a little zinger and burning towards chicks, more like insulting chicks in a stronger manner. That stuff gets way more likes and way more shares and way more saves. I'm talking by my average photo that I upload gets about 600 to 700, but the ones shit talking chicks gets anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 likes. I have 9,000 followers on that account. So the
what
ratio
do they criticize you the most for? They'll criticize you the most for those shows. They'll go, this is just salaciousness. What is this, TMZ now? Who cares? Yeah. Go back to your really great, content that you're known for, Rolo. And I do. And it's 14,000 people watch it. I go and I do something on Tommy Lahren, 400,000 views, right? You come at a girl, or you do a takedown video, or you do a what they think is a takedown video, any kind of YouTube blood sport, Ryan. Yeah, that gets eyes on the screen.
Yeah, I put up technique videos, and I just name the techniques and what I'm doing, and. Terrible.
Falcon punch.
Absolutely
terrible. You would how to beat GSP with the triangle choke.
For a fighter who actually, or somebody who wants to learn technique, they're amazing videos. But there's zero red meat. I don't use any language to trigger anything. And that's my fault. I'd have more views and make more money if I did that. Maybe I should switch. But I don't know. I'm very technical, and I just want it to be about the technique, be about what you're learning and how this thing actually works.
Well, it's a choice, right? I'm with you. How much money do you need? I chuck a little bit of shit.
You must learn or you will die.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Well, that's the thing. If you're making enough money, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be a millionaire. John does because he's got higher ambitions than me, which is fine. I'm paying my mortgages just fine. I'm eating. I don't have to. When I buy something, I never have to think about it. That's all I've ever really wanted.
That's a great feeling.
But I will say this. For my little second digital channel, I'm playing around with the thumbnails, and you're absolutely right. Where I have big selling points for views, twice as many views. I'm leaving the manosphere, hot topic. Maybe it wasn't about the grift, but the friends we made along the way. Huge topic. Mention anybody's name and have like a goofy picture in the front like you're making fun of them. Oh,
10
dude.
reasons why.
That's why everybody for the longest time was like, fuck Rollo Tomasi views, because they were like, this is getting traction.
Yeah.
But that's the
Shitting on
problem,
Rollo
right?
Tom- it's the meme.
Well, how many
from,
people? That's a whole industry, isn't it?
It's
It
the
is.
meme from Zoolander, right?
Yeah.
Shitting on Rollo Tomasi so hot right now.
But here's the thing. So that gets you a
There's
temporary.
a
I
whole
get
bunch
it.
of people who owe their whole career and their whole income on shitting on Rollo.
But you notice that when they do a video that doesn't have it though, it gets shit. So like the sizzle part is great, but you have to have underlying stuff. Like if John one day, like this John, decides to do like a bunch of anti-GSP Dana White videos, makes a ton of things, and then he stops doing it, he's still got that underlying technical stuff to go through that his audience will stick around for.
Yeah.
I think too many of these people are great at marketing, but they forget after the marketing, they still have to provide something that's, information and entertaining.
I wouldn't even say great at marketing because that's like low hanging chimpanzee shit you can do.
Well, I guess easy at market. I don't know. It's like it's low hanging fruit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Because I think I agree with you on that because these guys who, there's a bunch of dirty stinking apes out there right now, like circling the bandwagon right now to fucking attack Fresh and Fit. It used to be let's attack Rollo, but now let's attack Fresh and Fit. And
They
so
make it so easy too.
They're easier. They're easier. Well, and
they're
that's
larger.
And that's also I would argue that is also part of their appeal is that they are attackable.
Right. And then the point I'm trying to make is what I wanted to build on what Ryan was saying. These guys, when the backbone of somebody's business is tearing other people down, when you stop tearing other people down, what are they bringing to the table? Like one of my favorite channels on this panel is Cappy's channel. I love watching his channel. I love the philosophy. I love his books.
You're about the only one with the economics.
His
you like
cheery, his cheery demeanor.
Yes, very cheery, very freaking
The
cheery.
Curse of High
Uplifting.
IQ really, really changed my life. There's a really, really good book, and
Thanks.
no, it's really, really, really fantastic book. Made a lot of sense to me. I was like, no wonder I feel so alone. So, I could relate to that. And then, Cappy doesn't do the flashy nonsense. And I think that's why, as a man also, Aaron has a very reliable, steady business that will stand through the test of time compared to these Jerry Springer flash in the pan. Let's shit on Rollo. Let's shit on MLD. Let's let's attack people nonstop. And that doesn't last because it's that's like a broken message, and it's like toxic, and all you would do is attract toxic and shitty people.
It's
What
like
it
it's
is-
like the fighter who just throws crazy punches and brawls.
Yeah.
Right? There's no real strategy or tactic to it. Yeah, it's exciting, but that guy is going to have 5 fights and then disappear.
Yeah, Leonard
Right.
Garcia.
Inevitably, it boils down, and John, you'll appreciate this. It's like, does your currency have intrinsic value? Is there underlying? Now, I'm very fortunate because, we all make fun, no one really, Snoresville, who wants to tune into 401ks and my economics and all that. Some people do. Some people have an interest in that. But I didn't even realize this until about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm in the incredibly lucky position of being in the largest market in all of human history forever, and that was the sexual market. The two are very closely, almost the opposite sides of the same coin. And so when I could connect economic reality to like the pursuit of women and all that other stuff, so there is some authenticity that is linked to it. But I've made this point before. Everyone here has had a real job or career before they came here. This was quite accidental. But there are other people, and these are the legitimate posers who then go after the flash and the cash, who, these sock puppet accounts are these, what you call egg accounts, where I got 35,000 subscribers, but an avatar, let me tell you how to get the girls and take and Ryan, you've been throwing them up left and right. I'm like, who are these people? Where are they coming from? Who are these? Like, I can't even call them no names because I don't know who they are. And then you get a picture of some okay looking guy in his 20s, learn how to be masculine. I'm like, what do you have? Is this guy? Like, were you a taxi cab driver? Were you in war? Were you an executive? Are you an accountant?
That's Marcus
Shit,
Aurelius, man. Show some respect.
I read all of Rollo's books.
Well,
He
yeah,
was ripped.
right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so that's
The
what
thing is that as a business strategy as well, the other thing that is flawed about the constantly dumping on people, or dunking on people rather, is that it's a bit like when they say you shouldn't build your empire on somebody else's property. And we're all guilty of that to some extent, because there's YouTube, there's
It's
Twitter,
the game,
whatever,
right?
right?
Have to.
But you know, you need to, you want to have your own sort of commercial real estate. And when your whole, and I've seen whole channels, like literally the whole, like I know we're thinking maybe some bigger names here, but there are small channels. Literally all they do is slag off other people. And you're then reliant on that content creator to keep putting out that same sort of content. I mean, what if Fresh and Fit one day say, do you know what? Sod it. We made like we made $1 million, couple of $1 million each now. Sod it. We're going to go into property. We're going to go into whatever. We're going to stop doing this. Then you're screwed, because your whole channel was reliant on slagging off somebody else.
Oh,
So
Miami would shut down.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying that's likely, but you know what I'm saying. You're reliant on somebody else's output for your content, and you need to be creating your own content.
John, go say what you're going to say. You were going to say about Trump.
Yeah, all the press right now, all their viewership is plummeted after Trump has disappeared.
Brilliant.
Yeah, nothing left to talk
COVID
about.
is the new Trump.
Yeah. If there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. Yeah. If there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. And I was going to say, Fresh and Fit are a really good illustration of exactly this dynamic, because they'll do their main, their noonday stream or whatever, their first stream. It's like Money Mondays or whatever Wednesdays, and they actually have a real show that's just the two of them, like talking like about like red pill content, or like get on your game, get on your hustle. Here's a real estate. Here's legal. Here's our legal team. Here's this. And they'll do that. And you know what those shows you do in viewership? Nothing even remotely close to when they have like 12 or 15 ratchet ass hoes on there. And you got, and you got just last night I watched what Andrew Tate was on there again. And the girls are just like wrapped by this guy. And I'll tell you, they were up around like 9,000 or 10,000 views. When I was on there with Sterling Cooper and Jay Waller and Andrew, we were up, or I think we topped out at about 9,000. But you put 15 girls on there, it gets up to like 12,000. And when it's just the two of them talking about red pill topics, they're lucky to get like 4,000 or 5,000 views, like live views, when that's on, because the content that these animals want is Jerry Springer. They want to see a bitch get kicked off of the show. They want
funny, Rollo.
The blood sport.
You got like a 20-year author. You got like a porn star. You got all these like accomplished guys. Yeah, but she's 20 and got great tits. They're like, fucking sign me up.
The women aren't always that. Let's be honest. The women aren't always that attractive, are they?
They're attainable.
It's about the craziness, isn't it? It's about is she going to pull a gun? Is she going to do this? And I love all of that as well. But I suppose
really.
Well, I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for a bit of entertainment as well. I love what they've done. I think it's yeah. No, I like the chaos. I like the chaos of it. I like the craziness of it. But ultimately, bring it back around to, I suppose, the topic. The toxicity of this is, not just them, but the toxicity of the whole sort of making this into a circus. Is that guys are using that as escapism, perhaps, arguably, rather than addressing the key issues. Right. And then you look at John, he took 2 months off, he did a lot of deep inner work, etc. Maybe that's more the route that we should be going, rather than just this entertainment the whole time.
John, may I contribute to the topic of conversation?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to give you guys a Christmas miracle. I'm glad you're all sitting down. I'm going to say something positive, optimistic,
really,
and about women, and ultimately practical, which is not going to be popular.
Lie to me, Daddy.
Okay, I
could feel the viewership dropping.
No, it's true. That's the sad thing. Because here's the thing. It's like, here, eat your broccoli, stop eating ice cream. Here it comes. All right. There are quality women.
Yes,
there are. Now they are exceptionally rare. And where I think the two markets that form, where you have your practitioners versus your theoreticians, or just you're like, give me that black pill, red pill hitman, is first, right off the bat, there's red pill rage. I've been lied to. So immediately deprogramming the wrong program you got in your operating system is key. So everything is practical up until that point. And you're learning, okay, this was wrong. I was lied to. I was lied to here. Then it's whether you're going to say, okay, what's the reality of the situation? And you either admit, okay, there are quality women, but they're incredibly rare. And even I admit that. That's what the heck my latest book was all about. Is it's exceptionally rare. Less than 3% of girls are marriage material. All right.
Yeah.
It's at that point, do you say, okay, what do I got to do to get those 3% of girls? Because they are out there. They do. I think most of us here are most of us are spoken for. And that's where the wheat is separated from the chaff. The Maury Povich show readers versus a William F. Buckley viewer type of people are going to separate. Are you going to put in the work and go and try and get these girls? Or are you going to sit there and stew and just like, here's the latest thing? Because yes, you're right. Out of, if we use that 3% rule, 97% of the news you're going to hear is bad. And you should be like, I'm probably the most dark, black pilled, red, Meg Towie type of guy here, where it's like, yeah, it is that bad. You look at the behavior of women, you look at choices people are making. Yeah, you do need to be warned about this, because at minimum, your time and money is at risk. If you get married, there's even more your kids and your legalities at risk. And then I think we're even moving to a point where women are definitely weaponized against men. And you're going to maybe have to worry about a future Me Too type of thing. But that's more of a dark economic theory that I have that we can address at a later time. That does not mean there aren't quality gals and that they're not attainable. You just have to put in a ton of work. And so the choice you have to make is like, is that worth your pursuit? If it is, stop whining, stop complaining, stop consuming, the black pill all the time, getting off on it, and go put forth the effort. Or then what you should really do, and this is kind of, we all talked about how we don't really watch the news that much anymore. Stop consuming black pills all the time. You won, as in terms of your effort in your relationship with women, as you're going to put forward, you are not going to put in the effort to get these girls. Well, then stop hating and being miserable and being mired in this new religion of I did it, you girls, I proved you wrong, that kind of thing. I mean, sure, it's fine, it's good, okay, and but then go live your life, and that's kind of the optimist thing. Also,
let me add to that real quick. Let me handle these super chats. Andrew, you 199 super chat. RP infighting hit term reversal yet? No, that's just
unfortunately no.
If you guys are gonna send dumb things, like the dumb things you send come with cheap prices for a reason. Can you like somebody send a $20 super chat with something intelligent and say, Chemo 499 super chat. Millennials grew up on trap music, Jerry Springer, and World Star drama. He's not lying. I'll just say this. So I was in. Oh God, I'm bland. This guy's a moron. This dude, you gotta go. This guy's just spurring out too much in the chat.
Bye, Felicia.
So I'll just say this, right?
He's the guy who keeps asking about your kids. He's the one who's gone. Yeah, that guy's weird.
He's just saying like Japan's going to disappear in 1,000 years. Like, so are all these fucking countries around us, most likely.
Elves.
But
Jesus,
Britain hasn't got a decade.
Elves.
When I'm
gonna get my elf hat.
When I was dating Miss MLD a couple years ago, and I wasn't like really heavily involved in the space as I am now. So I was more of like a consumer, and like my intelligence wasn't as refined in regards to differentiating shitty women from quality women. And I was watching a lot of content and reading about a lot of infidelity blogs on Reddit and stuff like that. And I would like read all that shit and then go home and like accuse Miss MLD, like, you fuck, like, who are you texting? Who are you cheating? Like, and it really was just a reflection of how fucked up I was on the inside. And she's just such a good girl. She was just like sit there and cry, be like, I'm not doing anything. And I'd be like, you're a liar. Like, show me your phone. Like, seriously. And it's because I was consuming all this, because the data you consume creates who you are. I don't care what anybody says. If you watch Cappy stuff all the time, you're going to be aware of economics. You're going to be aware of like making good decisions with your job. If you watch me, you're going to learn about entrepreneurship. You're going to learn about like deep psychology. You're going to learn about inner game. You're going to learn about how to make women serve you and like make women, how to cultivate a woman's femininity, right? Because a lot of guys just don't show up to a relationship ready to lead. They think, I'm just going to show up, be 50-50. No, like, you have to lead. It's pimp or be pimped in a relationship. It's very extreme, but it's true. Like, either you're leading or you're being led. And if you're being led as a man in the relationship, you're being led to the door eventually by a guy who is going to fucking take over and take control. So I would be consuming all this toxic data and then like being like, and she's a good girl. She's like never ever cheated on me, never did anything wrong. Like bought me presents for every Christmas, bought me presents for every birthday, made me scrapbooks with all of our memories. Like the sweet girl, really, really sweet girl. And I'm like, you cheating whore. Like I saw you put your cell phone face down on the table. You are a fucking slut. It's like, what if she just wants to like give me all of her attention? What if she wants to fucking just actually respect me and not even look at her phone, have a good time? But guys, like I think that's one thing that a lot of guys have trouble with is that they just consistently think like every girl's bad, every girl's a piece of shit, whatever. And in addition to that, this is one thing I've noticed happens too. A lot of guys in this space have low self-esteem, right?
Mm.
And when a girl is
You think?
quality and likes them, right? Because they don't like themselves, they look at the girl and be like, wow, this girl's stupid for liking me. This girl's dumb for liking me. Or this girl's like low value.
You've been reading on psychotherapy, haven't you, Johnny?
No, I'm just telling you from personal experience and in my group with all the guys that I've been in the coaching groups for the last 2 years. I've noticed there's a pattern. And
You picked up a PhD very quickly.
Thank
That's
you.
that's some
my
shrink
goal
shit.
my goal is eventually to outshine Rollo. It's a long path.
That's good news.
But no, I really don't care about that at all. I'm so content. I love my plebcast. But I will say that, that's a thing that I noticed. There's a lot of like don't get me wrong, I'm not in any way, shape, or form disparaging Donovan Sharp when I say this, but his catch line, it's not yours, it's just your turn. I think it can be like there is some truth to it, but I think it's not such a blanket statement truth like everybody fucking says. Like, it's not yours, it's just your turn. The moment she closes that door, she's fucking Chad. She's fucking Tyrone. She's out the door. She's on Tinder. She's getting a bunch of matches. She's sucking dick after dick after dick. And like, then she goes home and sends you a text message. Good night, baby. I'm tired. But she goes out and gets like ran through, in the parking lot of Waffle House. So
because you pay attention to those memes. You know what? Let me explain something because like people came at me in the chat when I was on You Are Here, and they're like, "Oh, Rolo's married. How can you be talking about all this stuff?" Blah blah blah. And I try to in like the most bonehead 8th grade way to explain my position on marriage. I've done
long-term relationships, maintaining the stability of long-term and maintaining the attraction is harder than going out pumping and dumping sluts.
Right. Your margin for error is much different. People go, well, I would hate to have to game my wife all the time like Rolo. Just like, no, that I've fielded that question.
Dude, I love that question. I've made 3 live streams on it. It gets tons of views. It's awesome.
Yes, exactly. And so people throw that shit at me in the chat. They're like, how can Rolo talk? How can Rolo be red pill? He's married. How can Rolo be married? He's red pill. Those are the two choices I get from tradcons or black pill guys. That don't listen to him because he's married. Either way, I don't win. So I'm just like, fuck it, I'm out. Yeah. And I try to explain that, my position here is like, I'm not against marriage. I'm against the way we do it now. I'm against the way that what marriage as a contract and as a human institution, I guess.
The government involvement.
The way we do that now. Men and women coming to, I've said this 1,000 times and I don't know how to be any more like 3rd grade level for you, but we are better together than we are apart. Men and women are innate, natural compliments to one another. That's been one of the strengths of our species. That's what made us the apex predator on this fucking planet. I don't know how to get that through these guys' head. And you know what? I don't have to, because it doesn't matter. They don't want to hear anything. They don't have any counter arguments. They don't have anything to say when I'm making the points that I always do and go into my monologues, whatever. They have no fucking counter argument. So you know what they say? Well, he's married, so don't listen to what he has to say.
You know what makes me laugh about that too, Rolo?
Look at him. He looks like he's a 5th grader from the 1980s.
Is Kermit the Frog criticizing
Yeah,
him?
I was about to say.
God damn it, Peterson.
Well, it might as well be, quite honestly, but I will say this as well, is it's been my turn for the last 26 years with my wife.
Look at that. Well, that's why I laugh. Everybody's like, they'll accept fake it till you make it. Makes perfect sense. And then they're like, how do you game your wife every day? It's like, what do you think fake it till you make it fucking means, dude?
You got to
He
make
made it. He doesn't have to fake it anymore. He doesn't have to be on. He doesn't have to gamer. That's what he means.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
he is the
everyone's
game.
faking it.
I hate to be even optimistic again, but man, I kind of like my girlfriend. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had
Whoa,
a
whoa,
lot of
whoa.
Whoa.
All right, we'll see you
You better
next
put a
week.
brand disclaimer.
but and there's a reason, and maybe it's more boring with economics, but spinning plates is great and all, but you'll get tired of it.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It is. And then you'll meet a gal, and okay, hopefully she's like Sophia Loren with a sex drive of a porn star, and she likes short guys with Santa hats.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you meet a girl who just likes you, wants to make you food. Like I'll tell you a quick story, and I'm happy this happened to me. And these virgin towels will never get it. These purists or theologians will never get it because they don't want to. But the kind of the way I knew the girl, I'm like, this might be one to keep. Is she is a really good cook. And I ended up getting some contract work in banking, so I had to break out the old khaki pants and corporate slave wear. And so I'm putting on the khaki pants; they don't fit. I'm like, what? Oh, these must have shrank. So I grab another pair of khaki pants. These don't fit either. What the hell am I going to? And then I said, wait a minute. So I never stepped on a scale. I never had to worry about that. So I stepped on a scale. I was $161. That's the most I've ever weighed in my life. And I come out there kind of like John did to that really sweet, innocent girl. I'm like, you did this to me. You made me fat with all of your great cooking and your buttery goodness. And you made your chicken enchiladas with extra gravy, and it's your fault. And she's like, no, you needed to gain weight. It's like, wow, it's most girls are like trying to get resources out of me, not fatten me up.
Oh man, you need to start dating. If you date Slavic girls, Eastern European girls,
well,
it's all about the oh, you need more. Like make you some soup. It's all about the
right,
that
but
kind of hearty, loving kind of thing.
Sure, but these guys are never going to get that. You're never going to get that. Oh, Rollo's married. Oh, you don't ignore him. I'm going to go read some more of that. And dude, I love Joker, and I love Turd Flinging Monkey, and I love Thinking Ape because they're empirical. And again, they address that 97%. But by God, guys, if you get one shot at this life, and women can, if you get the right girl, she can make all the difference in the world.
Yes.
And I'm not saying you destroy your life in the pursuit of one of those few 3%, actually 2.93%. Get the book of numbers available on Amazon.com. But if you live your life a certain way, and Rich Cooper, he talked about this in his book. It's in my book. You got to do these certain things, pursuing your own life and your excellence. By God, don't throw women out because they're woman. Like you always leave the door open for a girl that could prove herself or is a quality gal. And the fact, Ryan, you were slaying it. Rollo, you're slaying it. Troy, you. I don't want to delve too much, but there've been gals that had your heart every once in a while. And God, it's nice sometimes having a gal around, and especially if you find the right one.
It really is. Can I, on a sort of adjacent point to this, can I say one problem that I've noticed recently, a few times, and I've talked about this on other streams, is that it seems to me that you've got a lot of guys who just genuinely don't like women very much. And when you're sort of from a dating perspective, you're talking about, okay, so this is how you attract her. This is what you go on a date with her. These are the things you do. You will get guys coming into the chat quite frequently, and they'll say, yeah, but women, they're all really boring. They're all the same. I don't really like talking to them. How do I just skip all of that bit and just get to the sex? And it's a bit like, well, if that's your attitude, and I'm not being simpy in saying this, but if that is genuinely your attitude to integrating with 50% of the human population, then that's probably your problem. That's probably a big part of why you're
Troy,
not getting
you're
laid.
so right.
Yeah, like I'll say this too. Shout out to Asanji Muhammad, €5 says Ryan nailed it last year. She's not yours. Just your turn. Is just a necessary mindset to handle anger and entitlement to desire. We don't own women anymore. Right. Exactly.
And the only reason they watched that video is because I was shitting on Bulldog Mindset on it. Pointing that out.
But I gotta throw this out there, right? Aaron, Chris Poxon's in the chat right now. He is. Chat.
So guys, I gotta get going, but thanks for having me on real quick. So
hey, someone's shouting you out real
man,
quick,
John.
Cappy. Hold on.
What?
Says Leonidas 300. He said Canadian money though. You can leave. Cappy saw your podcast with Seth Meyers, currently working through his course. A perfect example of the quality this group offers. Appreciate it.
It's Seth Himes, and he runs.
Himes?
Yeah, Seth Himes. He runs. You guys should probably know him. Any younger guy or gal out there who wants the job, but they don't want to go to college. He teaches you how to do digital marketing. Himes, Hymes. He's one of the elves, and he's legit. He put together this class. He gets people jobs. I've seen it. Like, he gets especially poor people out of poverty, and they like host them. They'll fly them out to New York, and they're giving them hugs because he helps predominantly poor people get jobs remotely. So you could go. He's over in Thailand right now, chilling out on an island. But yeah, you could go to his website, In Demand Career or careers.com, and just let him know that I see him. But yeah, Seth Himes is a good guy. So anyway, I'll see you guys. Thanks. Are we doing one before Christmas?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
we are. Okay, I'll probably see you guys then.
Right now, I feel like you should be like hosting, and we should all
next weekend.
We should all wear yarmulkes when Cappy hosts next time.
I'm only Jewish by technicality.
Oh, I see.
I've never sat foot, but I'll bring a menorah if we want. We could do Harry. I'll get my little Star of David. I'll dig up my grandmother's stuff, and I'll sing a song. And wear some
is that like I'm in banking joke? The technicality.
Yeah,
it's technically because it's passed down through the matriarchy. My grandma on my mother's side was Jewish, so
congratulations.
Now, thank you. Yes, everyone can run Jewish jokes. I can cut them. Some of them are good.
Is that a technicality, or is that actually just being Jewish?
It's because culturally speaking,
do you and Drake get to go to together to the thing?
It all depends on the sect. Like, okay, I'll tell you another story that I gotta get going. So when I was ballroom dancing, there was this gal, and she had a crush on me, but not crazy. She's just a healthy crush, and she's like, well, are you Jewish? I'm like, no, I'm not. And she's like, oh, that's too bad. I said, well, why? She's like, well, I really have to marry a Jew. I'm like, well, why do you really have to marry a Jew? And she's like, well, because, I'd like to get into Judaism, but I need to marry into it. I'm like, well, why don't you go through the catechism? She's like, oh, it's too hard. Well, then I said, well, technically my grandmother was Jewish. So I guess according to the synagogue she wanted to join, I could just walk in with my quarter Jew swinging dick and like, hey, Faye, how you doing, fellow brothers? And I guess I would be a technical, because it passed down to the matriarchy. Then she could marry me, and she propositioned like, okay, you join the synagogue, I marry you, but then we can get divorced. I'm like, this sounds awfully complicated. Wouldn't you want to study the catechism to authentically become Jewish according to their tradition? But she wanted the cheap way in.
She just wanted a job in the media.
Well, and that's the other thing. There's Jewish culture, and then there's Jewish religion, and like a lot of people they're Jewish, but they never go to synagogue. Yeah. So and I guess I could be part of that community.
So you just want your money.
It's very much like Harrison Ford. I'm a quarter Jew, and if it helps me get some shekels, God bless America. Or
Start calling you Sammy Davis Jr. or Lenny Kravitz.
Sure, right. All right, I'll see you guys. I'll get you later.
See you there, buddy.
That sucks, John. You can't make fun of him anymore. Now you're anti-Semitic.
No, I don't know. Aaron is always a target. Aussie G-Man, $4.99 super chat, coffee money. Looking forward to Hot Dude Con. I look forward to seeing you there as well. Don't forget, guys, this upcoming December, here we are. I'm going to share it one more time. I'm going to go back to the screen. If you want to meet me and you want to meet the cast of Rule Zero in San Diego, I will be there. John Fitch will be there. Paul from Apex Mindset will be there. Dallas, I will be there. Dallas is going to be the Inner Game Summit, where we're talking about Inner Game. Dallas is only limited to 40 people, so get your tickets now. And then Miami, I will be there. Troy Francis will be there as well. I think Sterling Cooper has a soft confirmation, and Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast will be there. So
he's going to be in San Diego or Dallas?
Who?
Myron.
Miami.
Oh, Miami. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's a pretty photo you got there.
Thank you.
I'm starting to crush.
It's all good. But anyways, go to HotDudeCon. Go to hotdudecon.com. Book your tickets today. They are limited and they will sell out. I want to go around the panel and talk about more about this, just like the overall negativity and toxicity that happens in consuming this content. Because I'll tell you this, if it was not for me, and I know this is gonna sound like super fucking blue pill shit, but just bear with me. But I will say, if it wasn't for me having Miss MLD with me at the time where I had the inception of my business and my live stream and all that. And she really, like, she worked her ass off behind the scenes. Never asked, like, can you put me on your Instagram? Can you do this? Can you do that? She just worked her ass off behind the scenes, loved me, and took care of me. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would be here. I think I would have had a little bit of a harder time, because the girlfriend that I dated before her was this hot Japanese chick, big tits, long hair, fire sex, psychopath. Actual borderline personality disorder, like cut her legs and stuff. I found out into the relationship. I found the cut marks on her, the scars on her thighs and stuff.
Yikes.
And she told me, she sat down and had like a come to Jesus moment with me. She's like, listen, I know you want to like be this YouTuber and stuff. She's like, I just want to let you know, like, everybody thinks you're crazy and it's really embarrassing for you to be with me and you can't do it. And she like sat there and like talked to me and like was telling and actually talked me into this. This was in 2015, 2016. She's like, you can't do it, so you should give up. Just get a job like a normal person. And I took that trash to the curb. And then Miss MLD rolled in. She was like, no, you can do it. She's like, you're smart, you're talented. I like you. Like, people like you. You're good at speaking. And you know, having that fucking, I'm not saying like a woman is the one thing you need to fucking turn your life around, but I would say this.
Nice.
I know a guy personally, really good looking guy, and he's making $180,000 a year, doing fantastic in life. And he started dating a toxic piece of shit. And that woman bled him down to fucking zero.
Yep.
Literally zero. Lost his job, lost his apartment, trying to be the nice guy because he's a good man with a good heart, trying to do everything. And this succubus,
happy life.
This succubus will ruin him. You know who I think's doing that, John? I think Cody Garbrandt's wife is a toxic, controlling bitch. Since he married her,
possible, man.
His career. I watched her on the Embedded.
Dude,
she's no bueno.
My career, I got married 2010, and I started like having issues after I got married. Go figure.
Yeah.
Like, I started having extra stresses in my life. My focuses went away to different things, like getting pulled away from workouts. Then kids get entered into the picture, and I'm overloaded with all this extra stuff and all these extra burdens. And like, it definitely had a very negative impact.
Had a friend in high school, same as you. He was going to the Olympics. He was 17. Ended up getting married to an older girl. She was almost 30. Killed his Olympic dream. Same thing.
Ooh.
It's like that slow, like retooling his needs for her needs thing. It was just sad.
Yep.
Dude, there's a guy that I know in Tokyo. He told me this story. He was on the up and up to become like this top of the line photographer for Japanese porn stars, and his photography was getting really noticed and really taken up. And he was fucking
everybody was jerking off to it.
Everybody. And you know, he had this chick that was like a 6 out of 10, but he was mentally weak, and she held his camera equipment hostage in her apartment. This is a Japanese chick, and he was like a white dude. And she was like, you need to give up this shit or give up me. And he fucking caved in, and now he's just like a loser English teacher in his 40s.
Wow.
Asanji Muhammad, 10 euro. Let me read the super chat real quick. Asanji Muhammad, €10 super chat. Question for all my mentors in the panel: how your perspective of love evolved as you became successful women in game? Yes, Rolo Sensei, I know idealistic, opportunistic is different. John, go ahead with your statement, and then let's pass this around the panel.
I've just seen a number of times with fighters and guys who are aspiring to be, you know, they have talent. They're about to be good or blow up, and they get hooked up or tied down with a single mom or a chick who's, you know, older than they are by like 10 years. And you can't reason with them. You can't talk to them, because they'll never listen to you again. They'll never work with you again. They'll cut you out of their lives. So you just kind of just like bite your tongue and be like, all right, man, have fun with your, you know, raising kids that aren't yours and taking time away from your training and your goals and your dreams because the pussy's fire or whatever.
Dream killers.
All right. So, Ryan, how's your perspective of love? Ryan, you're like, as I've matured myself, I really learned to like appreciate your message more and more, because it's a very just sober, simple look.
Thank you, sir.
It's really good stuff. So how has your perspective of love evolved as you became more successful women in game? Because you mastered the game, you hit the button, and you got out. And so,
well, I wouldn't say mastered. I got good enough where I needed to be.
Right. That's what I mean. I mean, if you know, you're not miserable, shackled to some pig, and like she's like beating you up and fucking, you know what I mean? Like ruining your life every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Like when I was a kid, I remember this. You know what it was? It was Promise Keepers, like Rolo said. My stepdad was an overbearing ass, but he managed to hook my mom, who was like his third wife at the time. He's got 4 now, so he knew game. But because, you know, all the women I loved in my life hated him, I'm like, I'm never going to be like that guy. So my version of love was just not be like the asshole stepfather. And that sucked. And then as I got good with game, I kind of got that, I don't want to say jaded, but it's like very cynical to the point now where I almost kind of like mock the concept of love. I'm like, stop being gay. But then I realized, yeah, it's like, put a hand on my girl, you'll see how much I love her. I'll just put that out there right now. Try and touch my dogs, you'll see how much I love them. And I find it's just more, it's just the background noise of your life. Like the people that you truly care about and that truly offer value to you, you will do the things it takes to, I can't think of a better word than reciprocate, but kind of reciprocate that, right? That's the value I bring. Everybody's like, what do you bring to the table? I'm like, well, try to fuck with one of these things that I love and has been grateful to me over these years, and I'll show you what it means.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I just leave it. It's on the quiet.
John Fitch, how has your perspective of love evolved as you become successful women in game?
I've learned that, you know, it's not magic. It's not some magic. Like this is love. This is it forever. This is the only one ever. Like I've been in love 7 times. In love right now. I've probably had 7 to 15 girls in love with me. So like, I understand that like love's a biological function. And just because you love somebody doesn't mean that you have to give up your dreams. Doesn't mean that you have to give up who you are. There'll be another one. Like you could love somebody to death. You love them so much, but it just doesn't add up. Like you're not going to be successful together. You're not going to go anywhere together. Your dreams are not going to come true together. You have to be okay with walking away from it. You have to be okay with loving that person enough to be like, you know what, like it's just going to be bad for us to stay together. We have this chemical connection. We like being together, but like our dreams, our lives, they don't align and we're not going in the same direction. And you have to be okay with walking away from that. And until you've dated a bunch and understand that it's not magic, it's not the one, it's not, you know, God put this woman here for me, you know, that gives you a lot of power to understand that, like, you know what, I love this, but I'm not a prisoner to love.
Let's go to Troy.
Well, what John said just then was bang on the money. It really, really was. I agree with all of that. I mean, I suppose I was cynical. I got somewhat cynical about love, not red pill rage as such, but I went through a period of being quite cynical and sort of love never exists. Love can't exist anymore because of the way that our world is and the way the society is and the way that it's continuing to be. I don't believe that now. I reverted from that. I think that love does exist. I think that there are definitely people that we have something, how can I say this without being cringe, more special with. You know, we gel better with certain women than others. That's undeniable. You know, I've been in love with women during my life. I've had very, very close relationships with women who've been very special to me, and they've, you know, and it's been a fantastic part of my life. Like John says, unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's forever. That doesn't necessarily mean that it goes on for the rest of, you know, until the grave. And that's just something we all have to come to terms with. But I think this sort of binary kind of fake alpha view of love and of relationships is incorrect, and it's also damaging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Rollo. You go. I'll go last.
I was going to say is that I got 2 takes on this. The first one, and I won't get into like, you know, idealism versus opportunism. You know, when we come to like the gendered approaches to love, I think I've done that to death. I think reconciling those two is the most difficult part that guys have when it comes to love. Is understanding that her love, her approach to love, like women will not allow themselves to emotionally invest in a man unless he checks off some of those, you know, list of prerequisites she has on her list right there. They are opportunistic by nature, and they are opportunistic, especially when, you know, when it comes to like hypergamy, and it's a survival instinct is what it really is. And so their love is really based on a couple of things, you know, like if it's about if it's about children, then women have to have that innate love towards children so that they nurture it, and we get the next generation of babies going. And men tend to view love in terms of idealism. So when we look at love from like men and women, that's one thing, but like there's also like camaraderie and honor and love amongst men, for lack of a better term, but this sort of affinity for other guys. And I don't mean that in a gay way. I mean that in like, we have a fraternity, right? And so but that is based on an idealism that we believe that love should exist for the sake of love as it is, irrespective of our burden or performance with women. And so what happens is guys can't get out of the idea that if a woman can't love him according to his concept, his idealistic concept of love, then love doesn't exist. And Rollo says that love never, women can't actually love you. And if she can't love me idealistically the way I want her to, then love doesn't exist. I'm like, no, it's your inability to understand and grasp the fact that two people who have differing concepts of love can actually come together and be complements to one another. You just have to get out of your head, and she has to get out of her head too. That's another thing. I think too few guys understand that when like women think that men love like they do as well. So they don't really see it so much as an idealistic romantic thing. They see it as like, well, my love is contingent upon you not being a loser. Right. My love for you is really, there's conditions to it. It's no such thing as unconditional love. And guys will say, I don't really want unconditional love. I know that. But yet they're expecting that idealistic unconditional love from that woman all the time, irrespective of like, and whatever her conditions happen to be. So once you understand that, then I think you can have a more mature, healthier love between a man and a woman as a result. That's number one. Number two is that according, like, so you were saying, well, how has your understanding of love evolved? My understanding of love is this now. Is yes, it is a feeling, it is an emotion. Emotions are biological, they are not magical, as John Fitch was saying just a minute ago. I made this case in book 4 where there's a chapter in there called Love is God, because we have deified the idea of love. It's no longer, there's no longer a higher metaphysical deity power. We've taken love, because we live in the age of emotion, and we've made love our highest order of thinking. It's all about love, right? Remember, was it Jada Pinkett Smith, right? Everything is all about, love is love. Love wins, right? When homosexuals get to marry each other, we say, oh, love is just love, man. And so therefore it turns into this sort of esoteric kind of metaphysical thing. But my take on it is you can go from the biological aspect of feeling love for like your child or your husband or your wife or your friends or whatever. And you can take that and you try, because it's such a powerful emotion. We want to think that there's like some sort of cosmic universal significance to that feeling, and it serves our species very well to do that. That's why we will die for other people. We'll make sacrifices. We'll make ourselves martyrs just because of that higher ideal of love. So I have understood that a little bit better. And then also my concept of love is that I don't, you probably heard like there's different types of love, like there's eros and there's agape and there's all this other, you want to classify love. That's bullshit. Okay. All that is just compartmentalizing that same feeling. So for me, when I talk about love, like for instance, I love my dog, I love my wife, I love my daughter, I love my mom, I love my brother, I love you guys, but I only fuck my wife. Okay. It's how you're expressing that love. And I do this show because I like being with you guys, I like hanging out with you. I hug on my dog and I love my dog. And I would probably fight another dog or physically get in there if somebody attacked Ned. But that's, what will you do? How do you express that love is different than actually just the base feeling of whatever love is. So I don't see it as like agape, eros, this, that. It's just the expressions of it are different and contextualized for different people in different occasions.
I'll add my so one thing, I'll be very honest with everybody talking about myself. So at the beginning of my pickup career, or whatever you want to call it, I am really good at picking up chicks, banging them, and keeping them short to midterm. But I realized mid to long term, I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And I've kind of been refining that over the last 3 years. And I've realized that it's the red pill is 3 stages. It's like it's no sex, getting sex, and then maintaining relationships with women.
Mhm.
And also, I think the last part is the hardest part and the most underappreciated and under taught skill as well. Because a lot of guys just think I just get sex, and once I get the sex, I'll be good. But then they don't realize that, like, with the sex, eventually, because women are very, very complex creatures to understand, especially if you're like watching all this mainstream media garbage, the music. Like, all of us here are 30 years or older, 35 years or older, really. So when we were younger, like, they didn't have all this simpy music playing all the time. Like, there was like music with confidence, and like men were men, women were women. But now it's all like kind of this like watered down
I listen to a
simpy.
lot of Motown, and there's a lot of simpy ass music.
I was
But
going to say
in-
Brian McKnight was an asshole.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's way more mainstream now than it was in the 90s and
Well,
early
I think
2000s.
the guys back in the day used to sing simpy ass shit to get the girls, but there was like their red pill approach to it because they all were banging tons of
They
chicks.
didn't know any better. Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah,
might
so-
still be the case, though. That might still be the case because you got dudes like Drake, and I'm sure he's getting his end away. But
it's like what I'm trying to say to you
No,
guys, you're
Drake
missing the
falls in
point.
love and gets his heart broken and shit.
Listen, you guys missing the point. The point I'm trying to make is, like, Zach Morris wasn't simping for fucking Kelly Slater.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Steven.
Oh, you wanted Jesse.
Zach Morris is trash.
That wasn't as a man being portrayed as a buffoon on television was not as common in the 80s and 90s as it became in the 2000s and onwards. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to say. That's become the norm,
Yeah.
and most
Happened in the
younger
90s.
men don't know how to be men anymore. And quite frankly, a lot of women don't know how to be women in the West. It's less like that in Europe, but it's Canada, United States, UK, Australia. It's a pandemic. It's the real pandemic. Men don't know how to be men. Women don't know how to be women. And everybody's all just fucking and having all these chaotic and turmoil based relationships. But what I've realized too, achieving the pinnacles of sexual success, achieving the pinnacles of financial success, that the number one thing that brings quality and wholesomeness to your life is twofold, in my opinion. It is inner game, having inner peace, being okay with yourself, and quality relationships. Be friendships, business relationships, family relationships, and relationships with girls. For me, when I actually get in a relationship with a chick and I actually give her the time of day, like, these girls remember me for the rest of their life. And I can always pick up a phone and call them and be like, hey, what's going on with you? I've been thinking about you. How's everything with you? Like, they'll never like, discard me out of their life. And so I've learned that also in the red pill space, just because you're getting sex doesn't mean you have real game. Real game is knowing how to handle yourself as a man and keeping the chick interested in you in like an organic way, like a non-manipulative, non-controlling way. And I think that right there is a huge skill set that a lot of guys don't have. I would say 95% of guys do not have that skill set. And I think a lot of guys think that if I just got a bunch of pussy, I'll be happy. But the reality, in my opinion, my experience, and from what I've sourced and all the data I've been doing, is that I think a lot of guys would be happier off with one relationship or like a few relationships running at the same time rather than just endless pump and dumps. And like, because like me and Cappy said, it gets exhausting. It gets boring. Like, you gotta go date and you're like, oh, gotta listen to this fucking person again.
It's a bit like Groundhog's Day, having the same first date over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's basically my main thing is, like, I think that there just needs to be a little bit less in my channel and stuff, and I'm guilty of it as well. There just needs to be a lot less of negativity. I will say this too. Okay. Thank you, Warrior Races. MLD, this show is fire. We need more shows like this. Thank you. It was my idea. I'll take all the credit for that one.
Except you need to make a thumbnail like flaming red tits, and then people will actually watch it.
I made the thumbnail too.
You
Shout
did.
out Shout out to Ian says Drake is a homosexual. Thanks for your contribution to the chat. But another thing is this, right? I want to say one more thing that a lot of guys have a problem with understanding in regards to the truth, regards to relationships. I don't have to say, about people on the panel because I just know this is true. All relationships eventually break or hit a rough patch. And a lot of guys just say, oh, you know what? She fucking got mad at you and did this. Block her, bro. Next. Hard next. You've been dating her for 2 years. Fuck that bitch, bro. Don't work through your problems. Like, don't get me wrong. If your girl's like a constant, like insufferable cunt, then yeah, get rid of her. But if she's like, if you guys going through rough patches, because a lot of people just give up. I think that's where the divorce rate is so high, because people just hit the exit button and people just, they have a false reality. I call this false red pill abundance. They think that they can go out there and really just replace any girl that's been in their life. And that's really just not the case.
Yeah.
Because there are special girls out there. And I'm not saying simp for these girls. What I'm saying is, like, if you think that you're going to go through a relationship and experience no hardships, or you're not red pill enough, or she's too much of a feminist or some shit, you're out of your mind. You have lost your fucking mind.
Yeah,
and
well, you're talking about the sparring partner.
Anybody who's in a relationship that demands perfection out of the relationship is detached from reality. At some point during the relationship, the sparks, the romance, the chemical feelings fade away, and it's two people who have made a choice to commit to each other and stick it out. And I think a lot of guys miss that concept as well.
I got ran up the flagpole by
you
by yeah, exactly. by all these fuckwits who want to say, oh man, Lauren Southern really owned you. Well, all she ever did was like focus on one thing, which was like Iron Roll Tomasi number 3, which is, any girl that makes you wait for sex, the sex is never worth the wait, right? Of course, then what happens is then it goes into, well, you guys, by spinning plates, you're creating these horrible women who are just responding to your market pressure or something like that. And I'm like, no, actually, that is an adaptation in the opposite way. However, what happens is they then, say, well, how are you ever supposed to form these relationships or find love or whatever if that's all you're doing? I said, well, if you had actually read my book and you've gone through all 6 chapters, well, I think it's, I have 6 essays on plate spinning. What's the last one? It's transitioning from plate spinning into a monogamous relationship, into something that is a little bit more, for lack of a better word, meaningful, or something that because you have gone through, a period of dating non-exclusively, of spinning plates, you now know what's best for you. You understand women's nature, and you have the experience necessary to make good decisions, so that when you get into a long-term relationship, you know what you want, so you can build something at that point. But they never get to that fucking chapter, do they? They only want to focus on, Rollo's telling guys to just bang anything on 2 legs. He's part of the problem. He's a PUA. No, read the book. And then second of all, I'm looking in the chat here, and these guys are like, well, love is only a feeling, man. It's just this biological, it's just, squirt of whatever.
So hungry. I still eat though.
Adrenaline and oxytocin. And it's like, and you're right. You're 100% right. But you also have to remember, what is it that, what is it about that particular hormone, oxytocin or whatever it is? What is it about the biological fact that prompts you to feelings and emotions of love? And what are the manifestations of that? And what are the larger social implications of that? And why do we have that? To nurture our children. So we have pair bonding. So we have, look at all, you're right. But let's go from the reductionist view of love as being just this, hormone that gets squirted into your bloodstream when you get off, right? And let's extrapolate that up into something a little bit more, so that we can look at love is also based on tribalism. Love is also based on kin altruism. There's another aspect of that as well. So it's not just about squirt. It's also about, where do we go once that squirt gets into our bloodstream, and how do we build up from that? And what are the social structures? What are the social implications of that? So you can't just focus on I think a lot of black pill doomers want to say, well, love is it's not real. It's just your biology and your brain and the pituitary gland and everything else. And you're right, but you're not going far enough, man. you're not going nearly far enough.
Let me read this super chat. Clint 3092. See, the expensive super chats actually have some brains behind them. 10 euros says MLD is 100% right. That's all I need to read for all the brains there. I'm in an LTR right now. And watching too much red pill content makes me paranoid. Absolutely. Like Ryan says, if she's treating you well and there are no signs of red flags, what's the problem? Yes, a lot
There's
of
always
guys.
going to be at least one red flag.
Yeah, dude, and that's the
Is
thing.
is any girl ever red flag free? Are you red flag free?
Mate, dude, hello, stop seeking perfection in a fucking relationship. If you're watching this content, you're far from perfect. I'll tell you that. And like, you know, and you're not perfect. Like I'm not perfect, you know. I don't have like 6-pack abs and perfect fucking hairline and
dick.
you know, I have my fucking insecurities and shit. And so like I'm not perfect. So why the fuck should I be like demand perfection from a chick? Now look, I want to clarify this clearly for people. Don't just take it like I'm gonna fucking just say like just simp out for these girls. You absolutely, this is why I added this to the end, okay, of my statement, which is money, muscles, game, and then frame. Frame is the most important thing. It's the core 4. Frame is the most important thing that you need as a man to navigate in a relationship, because without frame,
game to make up your frame.
Right, because without frame, without establishing boundaries, and without setting, because frame is setting the rules of the game for you and the girl to engage in. And as a man, you have the frame, you set it. And if you don't set it and you don't enforce it, then you're just a doormat. And you know, it's no bueno. Jimmy in Dallas, $10 super chat. Rollo, how do you handle quote rough patches, end quote? I know you've only had like 3 or 4. You think he's only had 3 or 4.
Well, my wife. Rough
I mean, I don't know, but this is
what counts as a rough patch. I can count on the
exactly
fingers of one hand how many times I've had an actual fight with my wife, and I don't think it's lasted more than 24 hours. What's a rough patch? The only time we have rough patches is when there's a miscommunication. Like I meant one thing and she took it another way, or maybe even vice versa. And usually it's usually because my wife gets really emotionally set on certain things, and she thinks that I understand that she's emotionally already sort of invested in something. Like for buying,
you got a stubborn one too.
Well, it's not so much stubborn, it's that it's this presumption. You want to know where a lot of conflict comes in relationships? It's the presumption that one person understands what the other one says and doesn't get it when they're not on board with that idea, because they thought that you were already on board with it, because there's this presumption of like, oh, well, we're going to go do this. This is the plan. It's like, you want to talk about frame. That's why holding frame, like ironclad frame, is very important. The other thing is genuine desire as well. And I hate that Fresh kind of like screwed the pooch on this one. But in that Abba and Preach video where he was like, you want genuine burning desire, you want to own her soul kind of thing. And I understand what he's talking about. I get it. But anybody outside the sphere is going, what is this like? Is this some sort of dramatic? What does he think he's in a movie or some shit like that or whatever? Does he think he's like, Count Dracula?
The Instagram DMs didn't help either.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I understand what he's saying. He just verbalized it in a very, very bad way, but he's not wrong. And I know where he's getting it from, is that you want a woman who genuinely, organically has desire for you that you can maintain and you can keep it up all the time. And a lot of guys, that is a completely alien thought to guys. And if that's the case, and if you're maintaining frame throughout a very good long relationship, and it becomes something of like your second nature, then then you can have a 25-year marriage. And so guys are saying, well, don't you know that your wife can like leave you at any time? Don't you know a Rollo just stays with his wife because it's cheaper to keep her, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, let me explain something to you. I've been married for 25 years. I've known my wife for about 26 and a half. And like guys will say, well, you'll end up getting divorced or you'll get run through the ringer. I'm like, well, I've been red pill aware. I've been holding frame. I am who I am. I was talking with Sterling and Jay Waller and Andrew Tate on Fresh and Fit, and they asked me about this because they were talking about like desire, and they were talking about having girls and stuff like that. And it's not something I can really speak to because I've been married for 25 years. So I allowed Sterling. I said, Sterling, I'm going to let you make my case for me. Like, he was up here in Tahoe, and we were having a good time, and Justin was there, and Sterling was there, and I said, what was your impression of my wife? And they just said, she loves you, she adores you, she admires you, she looks up to you all the time, and everything else. And I said, and that's after 25 years of marriage. And so, yeah, is it a risk? Yes, it is. Is it an all downside risk? Absolutely it is. But the thing is here I am 25 years later. Here we are having this conversation at 25 years. I guess it's still my fucking turn. I guess
I hit by a bus
win the
tomorrow,
fucking
Rolo. Don't
lottery.
leave your house. That's how it sounds.
Yeah.
And look,
Driving to Perkins. Is
Here I am. Here we are.
Perkins.
So I'll say this too, right? I had a great example.
Are there gals at Perkins?
Shout out to Aaron
It's not
Clary.
just a supply store.
Shout out to Aaron Clary. $3 super chat. Modern Life John shops at Perkins. I will gladly wear a Perkins shirt. I'm gonna go to America, and I am gonna go to Perkins, and I'm gonna be there for Hot Dude Con, and I will definitely get some Perkins gear. Aaron Clary, fun fact, Aaron Clary mailed me coupons to Perkins from USA to Tokyo as a joke. So that was hilarious. We got a super chat coming in here, but I want to add something real quick before I read this super chat. Another thing is that, like, I think with guys in this space, like, yeah, I think they just like okay, I use this example, right? When I was 27 years old, I started dating the manager at my English teaching school in Japan, right? She was like really, really cute girl, flat stomach. She's like one of those girls with flat stomach, like round ass, and like, nice perky small tits. Like a good B cup.
Yeah.
And when I had this revelation at that time when I was in Hawaii, right? And we were having sex every day, and she was making me tacos and making me food, and we were traveling, we were eating acai bowls, we were doing all this amazing stuff. I didn't like sit down and think, you know what? I want to go write about this on Reddit right now. Right? I didn't. I know. I'm serious.
Put it in your spreadsheet.
And that's the thing. So when people are miserable and unhappy, and they're getting cheated on, and they're getting, they're having a terrible life experience, they go to the internet and write about it to vent. So you read nothing but an echo chamber of bad experiences on Reddit, and then this further poisons your soul and poisons your mind, because if you're looking for that stuff, you kind of already are in a bad spot. Like, sometimes people find it by accident, but they take this internet shit as gospel. And like I said, this, like, the in my opinion, the guys that are living the best lives have the shittiest YouTube channels, right? Because they're out living life and having a great time. Like, they're out having sex with beautiful channels. They're out having sex with beautiful girls. They're out, traveling. They're out living life to the fullest. So they don't have time to like come home and like, write like a 40-page field report on like, the nuances of these pickups and shit. And it could become for a guy that's new to the sphere and new to the area, it can be really confusing for him. So that's why I wanted to add that as well. Dodge Dak 02 999 super chats. Should you continue to spin plates even though they're mediocre and you've lost interest after doing the deed? Not difficult to find women, but difficult finding women that really excite me. That's just life, dude. Like, majority of bitches are fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Like, majority of dudes are shit too.
People are boring. Like,
yes.
My plumber can't fix my electricity. That's his problem. You're putting them in this weird category. Like, they're not your be all and end all. They're not your raison d'etre.
Yeah.
Oh my God, girls aren't the most interesting thing in my life. What's up with that? It's like, they're not supposed to be.
I met a guy one time.
They smell nice. Yeah, they shower every day.
Ryan, there's a guy. There's a guy in my coaching community, and he's like, I'm just mad that I can't talk philosophy with my girlfriend. I'm like, dude, you are a moron. Like, you don't. That's not what girls are for. It's like, so, yeah, do some girls want to talk philosophy? For sure. But you know what they really want to do? They want to watch Selling Sunset. They want to fucking they want to watch the Bachelorette. They want to fucking
bake cookies.
They want to see sex life. They want to watch shit like that. So it's just wild. Red Bull Thor, $20 super chat. Thank you so much for the big one. Let's get a Don DeMarco on that. Hey, Rolo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. MLD 100% spot on truth. Salute to the panel of goats. Thank you. And then Jimmy in Dallas with another donation, 2-in-1 show, says $5. Said, here we are, 25 liters, and I guess it's still my turn. Yeah. And again, it's not
right.
It's Rollo's doing what's right, and that's what I've realized too. Like the real challenge is the stuff, in my opinion, that Brian and Rollo are doing, which is maintaining a long-term relationship while remaining happy, not maintaining it to maintain it, but actually like waking up like, oh yeah, like I'm not living in hell. I'm happy with my life. That's
John,
the highest skill set.
John, I was reading this. I got a Substack from Rob Henderson. He's an evolutionary psychologist, and he was talking about how, like in Hollywood, or if you're going to be a good writer, like if you want to be a really good novelist or something like that, you chop out the parts that are like the boring parts of the story. Like you don't have the lead character like opening the door, putting a key in the lock so he can get into the door and go sit down on his living room couch. Like you cut that shit out. And the reason why we do that is because we're always looking for the most interesting parts. So you can, keep the reader's attention or the viewer's attention. And that's just like, really, it's kind of human nature. We don't want the boring, mundane part. We don't want to, well, I got up, I took a shit, I wiped my ass, and I went downstairs, I made coffee, I sat on the couch and I browsed, nobody wants that. Nobody cares about that shit.
Highlights.
They want to know what it was like when your wife cheated on you, right? They want to know when like that they want to have their gloom and doom confirmed for them, or they want to be raised to a high or a low. They want that emotional impact. That's why our storytelling tends to be like event based, and we cut out all the boring parts. Like no character takes a leak unless that's actually part of the story, right? And that's just how we operate right now. But the problem is that in the social media age, all we get is that highlights reel because of that human dynamic, because that's what we really want to have. And so it's like Instagram is the perfect vehicle for that. Twitter, to a lesser degree, is a perfect vehicle for that. I think it's something about
before we had that, we had reality shows.
All right. Shout out to PP.
Say PP.
Shout out PP. Just gave me $100 super chat. Just says always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Guilty.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I'll follow up that one with this one.
Retard alert.
When I hear that, guys. Thank you, PP, for the $100 super chat. You gave 30 of that to Susan Wojcinski, but that's okay.
I gave that sound drop to Chris Pogson when I was out there at Freshman Fit. He dropped it at the perfect time. I was laughing. So
I appreciate it. And so, but anyways, I wanted to add one more thing, and then we can wrap up here. I think this is the thing too, when it comes to relationships, which I learned the hard way, and this is it. You guys have to have enough inner game, because that's the biggest thing. The inner game in this area is fucked up. This inner game is so bad, and most people's inner game is wrong, and that's why I'm shifting a big direction of my brand to targeting inner game and fixing the mommy issues that a lot of guys have, because everybody wants to talk about girls with daddy issues, but a lot of you dudes have fucking mommy issues. And I'm not trying to point the finger and make anybody feel bad.
It's the understatement of the year, John. You roll with it, man.
And so here's the deal, right? I expect everybody to copy me too. But the point I'm trying to make is this. The point I'm trying to make is this. Now, you should be completely solid inside, even if you find out your girl cheats and she breaks up the relationship. It should hurt a little bit, but for you guys that get like devastated, that like, oh my God, I can't eat. I can't, like, if my girl doesn't text me back, I vomit, like, if you guys get like super, super needy and dependent on the relationship, it's not what you're supposed to be doing as a man. And I'm not going to be like this. One of these guys is like, fuck this bitch, and like, don't pay attention or ignore her texts, and your life should be busy enough that you fucking you don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I don't believe in like booking my dude. When I wake up in the morning, I have like 4 hours free that I just like lounge around, listen to YouTube, and watch, like, play with my dog and order Uber Eats sometimes. So I'm not one of these like super work Nazis, right? So I don't believe in that. I think that's a cope when people say you got to just be so busy. Your life got to be packed, door to door, from the moment you wake up to the moment you're at night.
No
like you
days
gotta be
off.
jammed. Yeah, or just like I got to have like this amazing life. Like sometimes you're just bored and shit, and that's fine. But the point I'm trying to make is you have to be okay with or without the relationship. You got to be like, your life has got to be ice cream, and then the relationship is the cherry on top. And if you take the cherry away, you're like, I don't have a cherry, but I still got the ice cream, And that's a point, because a lot of these guys who get devastated, my wife of 17 years cheated on me and divorced me and left me, and unfortunately, some of these dudes check out. You know what I mean? I got to use the YouTube keywords, but they check out. And will never kill myself over no bitch. I fucking just slipped up and said it right there. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, there's a lot of dependencies on these people in this sphere, and dependent on the woman, depending on the relationship. If the relationship fails, then that I am absolutely devastated and I'm not a man. Like, what I talked about this on my show earlier this week, how to handle rejection. The way somebody rejects you is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of that person. If you have a chick spaz out, throw a drink in your face, cuss you out, and you didn't do anything to warrant it, some guys would take the blame themselves. But the reality is that's just a fucked up bitch. And there are a lot of those out there. So you can't, just because somebody treats you poorly doesn't mean you deserve to be treated poorly. That's the point I'm trying to make there. Does it make sense?
Rejection is better than regret.
Yes.
Old school Royce right there. Rejection is better than regret. And the other thing is, it's polarity is the key to a healthy relationship right there. And I'll quote Rollo Tomasi right now as well. Women should only ever be a compliment to your life, never the focus of it.
Yes, exactly. So that's going to do it for us today. I appreciate you guys. We're going to peace out here. We're going to see you on the next episode. I'll be live here tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button. Go to hotdudecon.com. Come meet me. Come meet Troy Francis. Come meet Paul from Apex Mindset. Come meet John Fitch. Rollo Tomasi is tentative for San Diego. May be there, maybe not be there.
Depends on if Michaela wants me on her show.
Dollar cost crypto from Crypto Mindset will be at San Diego. So dollar cost crypto, 7-figure crypto entrepreneur, myself, many other people coming there. San Diego is going to be a really hot, like very, very great event. Dallas is the Inner Game Summit. There's only like 12 tickets left for Dallas, because it's limited to 40 people. So if you want to talk about Inner Game and getting yourself sorted out, go to hotdudecon.com. Dallas is going to be the great event. And then Miami, I'll be there. Troy Francis will be there. And then Myron from Fresh and Fit. Donovan Sharp is tentatively coming as well. But it's going to be a great event. We're going to be able to network. We're going to give you live consultation. We're going to analyze you, give you a business plan, a fitness plan, money muscles game plan for yourself. And then we're going to have an opportunity to network with other like-minded red pill guys that are in the real world. So this is like a real event. If you actually want to meet real people and make real progress, it's one of the best things you could do is have a network of red pill friends that you can lean on, because we all need support networks. So until then, you guys have a great day. Peace out.